Hello Solana, my name is Chris Wilson. In this walkthrough of the Solana pathway, we'll be going over everything from setting up your project to submitting it to earn. For quickly navigating this guide, I've provided chapters for you to jump around as needed. You can find these chapters in the description below or by clicking on the caret below this video's timeline. For this pathway, I will be using WSL2, Docker, Ubuntu, and VSCode. However, it is important to note that if you're using vanilla Windows or M1 Macs, you will face compatibility issues that have yet to be resolved. Therefore, we recommend completing the pathway in Linux or WSL if using Windows. You can find a link to our documentation on setting up this development environment in the description below. Let's go ahead and navigate to learn.figment.io. And on the left-hand side here, where it says all pathways, we'll click on that and scroll down to the Solana pathway. All right, and here is an intro to Solana. If you would like to know, we're going to proceed to set up the project. We can see here that we start by cloning the repository using the provided git clone URL right here. So we can take that git clone URL and open Ubuntu, and we can right-click it in there and hit enter. This is cloning our repo for us. And then once it's done cloning, we can do my favorite shortcut, which is to put in code. And then the name of the repo or directory you would like to open inside of VS Code. And for us, it is learn. And then I can hit tab and that'll auto-complete it. And since I already have one of these that starts with a D and it's done, we are going to go DAP. Or you could just go DA and then tab again. And there it is. And let's go with enter. How cool is that? And it's got the terminal already open. If for some reason yours doesn't pop up with the terminal, we can go up here to terminal and click new terminal. All right. And then inside here, we're going to focus on in our terminal. You notice if you're not focused in the terminal, the box will be hollow. And we focus it in there. We will type in yarn into this to install the dependencies and get everything we needed for the project. Random fact, yarn means yet another resource negotiator. It was developed by Facebook and is now open source. You'll see your packages downloading here, and you'll probably get some warnings as I am. No fret, this is expected behavior. After all of our dependencies have downloaded, we can create a new file called .env.local and copy paste the contents of our .env example into it. So to save time, I'll go over here to .env example. Now let's go ahead and copy these contents. And to create a new file, we will click on this icon and that will create a new file. And in here we can go .env.local, enter, Control V, Control S to save. If we look at the contents of this newly created file, we see a variable is missing in line 3, and that's our DataHub API key. So at this time, we can head on over to datahub.figment.io, and you'll need to sign in. And then under My Protocols, you can go down. If you don't have Solana, you'll just click the little Add Protocol, and then we'll click on Solana. Now here is your Solana dashboard. And here's where we can see all of the steps for the pathway. Here we can see our API key and it's blurred out. We implement this security measure because these are the keys to your castle. Anyone with these keys can access your dApp. For best practices, we never want to share it with anybody. But if you do for any reason, you can always just hit the rotate button and that'll change your API key. And it'll show you your depreciated one. So we're just going to go ahead and remove that one. So let's copy our API key and we can go back to VS Code. And right here, we're just going to paste it in there, hit that with a save. Now that we have our API key inside of our .env file, we can access and use it within our project without exposing it. And our git ignore file down here has env.local referenced in it. So the contents of our .env file will be ignored in the repository and that will keep us safe. Let's go ahead and fire up the pathway now that we have all of our dependencies and securities in place. We can do that by typing in yarn start into the terminal. And this should automatically open up localhost 3000 in your browser. If it doesn't, you can go over to a new tab and just type in localhost 3000. And there's a colon in between host and 3000. And now we can see what is running inside of VS Code right here on our browser. This is running inside this terminal, so we can't use this terminal. If we want to use another terminal, we can go over here to node and we can either kill the terminal or we can split the terminal. And then now we have a terminal here that we can still use. Now, if you want to end it from running on localhost right here, you can focus in to this terminal and hit Control C. And now if we go back to our local host and refresh, there's nothing there. And if we want to start it again, it's just yarn start. And there we go. Looking at the program, we can see the steps on the left-hand side column and the current step within the white box here. Here in the lower left is a link to our Web3 knowledge database. Here you can learn and contribute to Web3. You can even build reputation and earn rewards for participating. From here, we will navigate the rest of the pathway using our localhost 3000 inside the React app, which is also running on VS Code. And then we will also be using our tabs over here. And that concludes setting up our project. Join us next time as we connect to the Solana Devnet cluster. As always, if you had any trouble following this tutorial or simply want to discuss Solana or Data Hub tech, you can join us on our Discord in the link down below. I look forward to seeing you there, and until next time, happy coding.